Good afternoon. Welcome to this meeting of the Early Childhood Subcommittee of the Ways and Means Committee on March 14th. Excuse me. Allergies are starting to act up here. We just have two bills before the subcommittee today, HB 292 and HB 448. We'll start with the simpler of the two, 292. Colleagues, as you recall, this is Delegate Patterson's bill that came in to try to make it easier for childcare providers that are located on a military base and that are certified by the Department of Defense to be exempted basically from our regulations regarding childcare because they already are regulated at the federal level. We do have some simple amendments before us. Alistair, do you want to just describe those amendments briefly?
Absolutely. So these amendments clarify that in the case that the exemption only applies to these institutions if they only serve dependent children of military personnel, are located on a military base, and are certified as a child development program by a branch of the U.S. military. Additionally, the U.S. military is given the authority to decide who will or won't be able to participate in the programs.
And that, you mean determine which children should be considered dependents? Yes.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yes.
Any questions on the amendments?
I move the amendments.
Second.
Okay, the amendments have been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Okay, that is unanimous. Any discussion on the bill as amended? Is there a motion?
Move favorable.
Second.
Okay, the bill has been moved and seconded. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Great, that bill passes unanimously. All right, so our second and last bill for today, and I see we do have another colleague who's just joined us, is HB 448. This is Delegate Corman's legislation that we heard several weeks ago at this point. As it came in, it did several things. It would have renamed the non-public schools that take some special education students. It would have changed the funding formula in terms of state versus local cost share for those schools, and then also dealt with teacher pay parity for non-public schools versus public schools. So those first two pieces are not in the amendments anymore. So now the bill as amended only deals with the teacher pay parity. And I'll let Alistair talk about specifically what's in the amendments.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. So yes, rather than changing the allocation of the pay for these students who are public school students who are assigned as part of their IEP to a non-public school placement, rather than having a 20% breakdown between the state and the county, it's back to the 30% share that is under current law. Additionally, there's a process in these amendments to ensure that the pay of teacher salaries at these non-public schools reaches the salaries at the public schools. It requires that the non-public schools send a list of the teachers to the public school boards so that the public school boards can compare those positions to positions within the public school, calculate the difference, and if there isn't sufficient money allocated under the overall allocation of funds, that additional funding will be provided to reach that over the course of a 3-year period. So in fiscal year 25, 33% of that difference will be paid in 66%, and in fiscal year 27 and every fiscal year thereafter, the full difference will be met so that those teachers will receive the same salary and benefits as their public school counterparts.
All right, so just to put that another way, it's basically a multi-year phase-in to get to parity between these two schools. And otherwise, the bill does not change the funding formula in terms of the breakdown between the state and the local governments for how that gets paid for. Is there questions on the amendments?
I have a question.
Delegate Ebersol.
Thanks. So the state will make up some of the difference, and so will the county. Is that the idea? Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead. Answer the question. I'm sorry. Let you answer it.
It's at the same rate that the current breakdown exists between the state and counties to pay overall for the placement of those kids.
So are there any guardrails in this bill from keeping a non-public from offering a really low salary and therefore getting the state and the county to have to pick up a greater portion of the tab for them?
I don't know if that's provided for specifically under the provisions of the bill. I think that, I think that IEPs might start not placing students at a school that was playing hardball in that particular capacity. And that would be the prevention mechanism to prevent that. But
Okay.
there's nothing specifically in the amendments that address that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay, if there's not other questions, is there a motion on the amendments?
Motion to move the amendment, not move to move the amendment.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. The amendments have been moved and seconded. Further discussion on the amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendments, please say aye or raise your hand. Okay, those are adopted unanimously. Is there a motion on the bill as amended?
Motion to move the bill as amended.
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the bill as amended, please say aye or raise your hand. Anyone wish to be, anyone opposed? Okay, that bill also passes. Now, we may have some additional work as the week goes by.